again. We're on page 52 at the top. Often, after a few months of trying, they come back, sometimes a little annoyed, and want to know what I've left out. They can't understand why their results have been so poor when they have been imitating exactly what I do. But as we've just pointed out, what's missing is not something I've left out, it's something in them. No matter how closely they imitate me, they can't create the passion I have for what I do. This is why you have to find your own passion, that one thing that inspires you to leap out of bed each day, eager for the challenge, knowing that you have the potential to create any life that you choose. How can you justify trading time for money now to live the life you really want in the future? How can you say that your time is worth $20 per hour or even $40 per hour? Your time is worth a limitless amount. By putting an artificial dollar amount on it, you become the architect of your own failure. Thousands of people around the world can understand and agree that they have potential. But how many actually take charge of their lives and do something about it? I'm sad to say, very few. Most of us can grasp the possibility of change in our mind, but that's very different than committing to it. Committing to overcome your programming and beliefs that have been drilled into you your entire life. But unless you do, it will remain only that, a possibility and unrealized potential. This puts you back where you started. The excitement soon turns to apathy, and apathy sends you to the same old job every day. Your life reassumes its drudgerous routine. It convinces you that you need some downtime, that you should spend that time plopped in front of the television watching pain, suffering, and negative ideas for hours on end. It drives you to apathy, and apathy is like a sadistic drug which deadens your mind from wanting more. It convinces you that you're okay as you are. It is the friend of the average, and as such, the mortal enemy of true wealth. The law of attraction, page 53. Over the past few years, the law of attraction has gotten a lot of attention, and why not? The idea that you can attract what you want into your life is, well, pretty attractive, isn't it? I'm going to insert here that later we're going to talk about the law of assumption, which I have found is much more on point than law of attraction. That we'll talk about that. But you can also begin reading about the law of assumption. Neville Goddard talks about it, but you'll pull up all kinds of information if you even begin to start looking at that. Okay, back to the book. However, you need to understand that the law of attraction is and has always been at work in your life. You just didn't know it. The basic explanation of this law is that everything in our lives is drawn to us by our thoughts. The law of attraction is always at work. Everything that happens to us, good, bad, or indifferent, we have brought on ourselves, even though we may never understand why. I say this because often I'm asked why bad events or catastrophes occur. To be honest, I don't know. But I can tell you that you have the ability to attract good and positive events into your life if you choose to. We've already touched on the power that your thoughts and beliefs have and how they affect your mind. The law of attraction deals with how these thoughts affect the world around you. It may sound simple, but it demands a heavy dose of personal responsibility. To attract the positive results and wealth that you desire, you must first understand and accept that all that has happened to you so far, you have also attracted, that they are your responsibility and no one else's. Few people are willing to do this. Most commonly, they prefer to blame others or fate while pushing aside the idea that their own thoughts and beliefs are responsible for their current results. And I get it. This is Cindy speaking. I get it. I understand. When this idea is presented to any of us, we naturally push back, right? Because it just doesn't seem right. How could I have attract, if I could say it, how could I have attracted that? Well, it's not necessarily that we're sitting around saying, I'm going to get in a car accident, or I hope I get in a car accident. But if we're pushing against things all the time, we're angry all the time, we're blaming all the time, that has a heaviness to it. And so things that are heavy, that match the energy of it, we tend to have experiences of, because we're believing that things are really hard, that our life really sucks. Well, if I'm believing my life really sucks, then there's a deeper part of me that's going to bring things to me that say, hey, your life really sucks. But here's the thing to realize, that by owning that and understanding it, you can reverse it. If you never ever understand it, you don't understand that you also have the power to reverse it. And when I used to teach classes, people would say to me, Cindy, that's so hard. It's so hard to change beliefs. But here's the thing that I always said, and I will continue to say, how hard is it to live the way you're living? Obviously, if you're listening to me, you want something different in your life. But you have to realize you have the control of that. And so you've got to do things differently than you've been doing. But those things are not as difficult as dealing with the hard stuff that's showing up in your life, especially when you understand that it's not going to change. It's not like the hard things are going to go away if you don't change. So, to me, putting forth the effort to know I'm moving in a more positive direction is a lot easier than continuing the way I was doing things, knowing that my life is not going to get better. And oh, by the way, nothing stays the same. So if it's not getting better, it's going to be going in the opposite direction. Food for thought. Okay, we're at almost 8 minutes. Okay, few people are willing to do this. I already read that. The law of attraction is actually a sub-law of the law of vibration, which says that everything is energy and that energy is constantly moving or vibrating. This is true for physical objects which are vibrating on an atomic level, as well as for the energy created by your thoughts. Every time you think something, you're putting energy in motion. Energy attracts more energy of the same kind. Thus, positive thoughts are magnets for more positive energy, while negative thoughts, well, I don't have to spell that out now, do I? It's important to keep this in mind, because the law of attraction doesn't have the ability to discriminate. It can create good or bad results in equal measure. It doesn't have an opinion. It simply gives you what you focus on. And this is important. It doesn't give you what you say you want, but what you focus on. Now, again, this is Cindy, and I'm going to talk about, give you an analogy. If you put something on a printer, what's it going to print? Even if it's a horrible picture, if it's something of, the worst consequences that you don't ever want to experience, it's going to print that picture. It's not going to say, oh, you don't want that. It's going to print that picture. So if you want to see a different picture, you got to put something different on the printer. And that's what we're talking about, the printer. Okay? Okay. Remember earlier where I told you that you should focus on what you want to happen rather than focusing and worrying about something negative like all the bills you have to pay. This is important because of the law of attraction. The more you worry about these sorts of things, the more you focus on your fear that you will not make enough money. And that's likely to take you exactly where you don't want to go, towards insolvency or worse. All right, I'm going to stop and we'll start again.